Hi, I'm Cheryl Good, and next to me is Seva Khalsa. Together, we are Love and Sex Mastery, and we don't have any chestnuts roasting in this fireplace.
But we're roasting
because
we have the fireplace.
Because it's a great visual, and we suffer for our art. We suffer for our teaching because the holiday season is beginning. Thanksgiving is this week, and then quickly follows all the other holidays once that turkey or your vegan roll is consumed. And the reason that I chose this topic is expectations can be rampant during the holiday season. And you had the reflection that everybody grows up with different holiday traditions.
Yes, because a couple comes from usually separate families and separate neighborhoods, even separate countries, the holiday traditions will be different. And, you know, they sink in. For me personally, they were very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And when I experienced other families, it was rather strange. And then I went through my period of rejecting everything, of course, as well. So I think there's a bit of a gender divide on how romantically or symbolically or emotionally or sentimentally holidays are viewed. Mm-hmm. Women more so than men.
I'm going to go with Seva on this one because this morning I had the thought, I'm going to go get that tree from the garage. Of course, the artificial
Who's
Christmas
going to
tree.
get the Christmas tree, by the way?
That's such a good question. So right away, the expectations are starting because
Were you expecting me to get it?
I perhaps had a desire that you would be in on getting that, and of course, then there would be the expectation that then once we got the tree out of the garage, that you would help me string the lights, and then there'd be the special ornaments, and then you'd have to have a special place on the tree, and then you wouldn't put them on the right place in the tree, and so the expectations. They pile up. They mount. The amount of expectations, and it's only going to snowball from this moment on. Increase. It's going to increase.
Right.
Because
and, whether friends are involved or family are involved, food is involved, a drink is involved, is football going to be involved? Various things to have conflicting expectations about.
Right, because these memories are...
Or even sex.
Right. Like, I might have this romantic vision of, now the Christmas tree is up, and the lights are perfectly wrapped around the tree, and the ornaments are on, and I might be feeling like, wow, this is the perfect time.
It actually turns you on.
It turns me on. Right, and then...
Which is just a complete short circuit to me. Although, I don't know if it's typically male or just me, but I have resistance to ritual and formal settings. But when they are accomplished finally, and particularly good food, along with candle lights and placemats and friends and everything, suddenly I'm happy.
And maybe in your tradition of growing up, all that was done for you.
All of that was done for me, exactly. It was just show up and enjoy.
So what can we do, Seva? So as Love and Sex Mastery, we get to counsel couples around all sorts of expectations. And now that we're in the holiday season, what could we counsel? Well, first ourselves, because everything that we counsel and teach is from what we counsel counsel each other and teach each other in our relationship. So what can we do?
Well, I think speaking about it as soon as possible is really good. Because the longer the couple don't speak about it, the more expectations can be separate. You know, if it gets down to the time crunch and one has a high expectation and the other doesn't, then suddenly schedules are completely out of whack. Expectations are way out of whack. But you mentioned the tree, and it's still a ways off, and that's good. So then I can let it sink in. Oh, okay, I got to do that job, and it's not that hard. And
well, what if I said, but I want it today? Like, I want to get an early start.
An early start.
I want to get an early start.
That's a good point. That's a good way of couching it, because there can be different time frame expectations, and I counsel people with the lower expectations to at least if the task is going to be done, just do it right away. You know, just get it out of the way. It makes it a lot easier. I mean, you have it's then done instead of you're kind of going over and over again. It's kind of like a weight in the back of your mind. This thing that's going to have to be done at some point, and I'm sure it's going to be not at a time I particularly want to. And so, do it now. What's wrong with now? It's, you know, it's the least. It's pretty much the least amount of resistance, I think.
So what you're saying is often the pain is the resistance.
The pain is the resistance
to the request, because now something has built up about this is I don't want to do it now. I don't like trees. Why does she want me to do something now? I mean, it could start to spiral into a place where all of a sudden a request becomes a big thing. Right. And it's the little things.
Yes, little things become big things.
Little things can become big things. And around the holidays, because of the expectations, there's, for many people, women and men, that it has to be perfect. Because we're making memories. So we have to do this right, and it has to be perfect. And I have watched myself crumble under the weight of my own expectations. So this Facebook Live is for me.
True.
Because I realize that as Thanksgiving approaches, and I'll be traveling back to Illinois. We live in Sedona, Arizona, so I'll be traveling back to Illinois to be with my family. And then there's a whole nother set of expectations that I could put upon myself. Right. Now I'm traveling at one of the busiest times of the year. Other people are traveling to be together, and the expectations mount. So that hence the title, holiday season. Expectation Minefield. Yeah. It can all blow up. So
when you're receiving an expectation you weren't expecting, let's just assume that the person with lower expectations is never expecting to have to receive a higher expectation. So that's the default. And so being able to quickly switch to either embracing an expectation, there's a difference between having a job to do, like getting a tree out or fixing food, versus mood. Now, doing a job, I think the job part is something that you can negotiate, and that you can negotiate fairly. Like, you know, I'll get the tree out and you put the stuff on, for example. All right.
The stuff.
I put it together and you put the stuff on it. Or maybe you know, I'm responsible for one dish and you're responsible for 3 dishes. something like that. That honors the less ambitious of the two. But then when it comes time to the event, then I think that it's really good to just dump resentment, dump resistance, dump whatever mood you're in, and just get in the mood. You know,
wow, that's such great advice. That's really good advice, because that can apply to just about anything.
Can apply to anything.
And we've often talked about how that can be really helpful when it comes to sex, because
Absolutely.
one person in the relationship could have the expectation that sex is going to happen at some certain time, and if that doesn't happen,
there can be resentment, and there can also be resentment even from the idea, like an expectation you didn't expect. The partner wants to have sex you didn't expect, and you might not want to reward that partner or punish the partner for being having the gall to.
But can't you see? I have 18 presents to wrap, and I have a turkey to stuff, and I have stockings to hang. And this is, of course, if you're in this particular tradition. Whatever your tradition is, it could be the whole other setup now, but it typically involves food, some sort of gifting, and some sort of gathering. And so now, here I've already overwhelmed myself, because I didn't really set a very good boundary for myself.
You tried to do too much.
I tried to do too much,
and so. It's good to not add further punishment. If you're the partner that's seeing the other partner that's bit off too much or is trying to do too much, to be comforting instead of punishing. You know, you could say, well, I don't care. It's your fault for having those ambitions. Stupid. You know, but that doesn't help. What helps is to either be comforting or just chip in a little bit. And that helps your partner, and then that partner might want to reward you with some loving.
Right, and we're not advocating sex as a reward or a punishment.
No.
Yeah, what we are advocating is, if you see your partner in some sort of distress, and you're reaching out to help them mitigate that distress, then more likely, some feelings are happening, some feelings of love and appreciation, gratitude comes in, and all of that mix makes both people available to having some more of those good feelings.
Right.
And isn't it interesting that the holidays are purported to be about feeling good? The seasons of light, the gathering of friends. So as a couple, you get to decide what your holiday season can look like.
Right. And if you're, just another addition to what you're just saying about one of them is overwhelmed with ambition. The person who's got the higher standards or more ambition probably wants to do all the work, him or herself, because, as you said, perfection. So, helping physically might not even be the thing, but just helping emotionally.
Right.
Like, as I said, listening. Oh no, I don't have enough time to. Oh, that's too bad. And and there's maybe a little rant happens. Say a 3-minute rant, outburst of how difficult it is, or how there's not enough time, and you just listen nicely.
Right.
Oh, that's too bad.
Right. So what you're saying, instead of trying to rescue or fix,
right?
Because maybe your partner really doesn't want that. They want to do it their way.
They want to do it, but they want to blow off some steam.
Right.
And you might think, well, the holiday season is really inappropriate for blowing off steam. No, it's great.
So to bring this to closure, what we advocate is have a conversation, or 2 or 3, or 10 around your expectations around the holiday, and do that now.
Right.
Because inevitably something will happen that you didn't think of yet. If you've already handled some of those things, then you're going to be more on top of your relationship game.
Yes.
And set some healthy boundaries with yourself.
Yes, calmly negotiate from your boundaries the workload, honoring both parties.
Right? Also honor that you may have very different ideas about what the holiday season is, and then come to some understanding and acceptance of the fact that what's meaningful to you may not be meaningful to your partner, and that it's not a requirement of partnership to always be on the same page of every book.
No.
In fact, that's really wouldn't even be desirable, because it's by the differences that you learn about yourself and you learn about your partner.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and when things get tense,
yes,
be nice and comforting.
yes, comforting.
And then when it's time to shine and the event's happening, rise to the occasion.
Right. And be there fully, because
it feels good.
And those are the kind of memories perhaps that you really do want to have in the bank of memories in your mind.
You actually might have some good Facebook pictures out of it.
You might actually get some good Facebook pictures. So with that, we are Cheryl Good.
And Seva Khalsa.
And together we are Love and Sex Mastery. Start your conversations now.
Now.